here to answer your questions about classic minis, about life, about anything. I think we're going to have a really good time tonight.
I always try and say, don't I, that my channel is about getting rid of the black art of working on minis.
For me, getting into minis, it was I had a newer mini. 2007 was one of the BMW minis. It was a Cooper S. And I found out about classics. I'm like, you know what? That's what I want. That's what I want.
There you are now. Hello, everybody.
Amazing.
How did I get into minis? It's something that just kind of happened from just one really good friend of mine asked me to build them. And I said, yeah, I'm doing nothing this weekend. I'll do that.
Man, it's funny how quickly things can change.
It's awesome to have so much really good fun chat with you all. And
yep, that's the best part. I'd really like to make this a regular thing.
thank you to everybody again, and thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone, and you know the drill. Enjoy those minis.
See you guys on the next one.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's been a little while. Oh, man.
Well, it has been a while, hasn't it?
Understatement. What have we been doing?
We're going to have to try and remember how to do these.
Yeah.
What is this thing I'm staring at here?
Yeah, what is this? Well, welcome, everybody. Got a few people joining in.
Already shown up.
So this is the first time we have done a Let's Talk Shit in probably, 8 months? Maybe more or less.
Right?
Maybe even more, yeah. And so we're trying something new on this one too. We're streaming to both of our YouTube channels, both of our Facebook pages, and my Instagram. Unfortunately, Paul can't stream to his Instagram just yet. But hopefully everybody is connected in and it's working. I've got Instagram comments on my side here so I can feed those in. And then, of course, we've got the lovely chat from everywhere else coming in and showing up on screen. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they're flying in already, yeah. Wow. There's your lovely mother. Hello.
Yep. My dad and her joining in, always supporting. Thank you.
Oh, I'm close, Dad. Hello.
Oh,
That's
we got
great.
let's see who else joining in here. CJ Laser, hello. Potato Edsworld, hello. Adam Campion joining in. I was hoping I would see you tonight. Hello.
And there is Ballylock Classic, who are not calling themselves Ballylock Classic anymore. Cooper S Traveller, our good friend.
I like the name change.
Yeah,
Well, I only
you
say
like
that
name
because I
change because you
could.
can say it.
Yeah, you saw right through me. Yeah. What? No. Oh, so, well, today's episode, we talked about this a little bit. We took some pre-questions, but tonight we were going to do just pretty much a Q&A. We don't have any underlying topic. We just wanted to get back with you guys. Paul, you've been getting on so many different things lately. What's going on in your life these days?
It's been crazy, right? Absolutely. What was it? 8 months since I released the video as well. Ridiculous like that, man. Oh my God. But
Yeah, but who's counting?
It's been a long time, but hey, look, we're here, we're back. Yeah, we had a lot going on. Yeah, between obviously building the new workshop and we did a little bit of a change of career paths as well in the middle of all of that, and winter and everything else. Lots going on. But yeah, we're here, and it's actually we've had our first proper spring warm day here. It's 8 in the evening now.
Oh wow!
And it was actually beautiful. We were out and about and enjoying the warm weather. What's it like in North Carolina? Is it?
It's pretty mild right now as well. It's kind of like spring has definitely sprung. Our spring is very brief, and then it turns into hellish. And
it
so
goes from gently warm to boiling.
To boiling, yes. And so right now we're in the gently warm phase. We probably have another 2 or 3 weeks of that, and then it's going to start It's gonna get up there. You'll get up there.
Oh,
But it's all
well,
good.
no fear of that here. It's gently warm, back to freezing, wet, warm, freezing, gently warm, freezing. Oh, very hot, back to warm, gently. And pretty much it.
Well, at least you don't have to like change out the clothes that you keep in your closet. You can keep the
Pretty
same
much
stuff
now.
year round.
No, I keep a jumper on hand all year round and a pair of shorts and a t-shirt just in case. You know.
No way. Yeah, this is what I would call prime mountain biking season. As you can see, I got mine back there, and I'm literally like, my wife is a saint, and she puts up with how much I ride my bike right now. But basically, I'm like, if it's sunny and it hasn't rained within 24 hours, that's a rule here in North Carolina for mountain biking trails. I'm out there.
They won't let you go on them if it's rained.
Let is, I mean, people do it, but trail etiquette here, because of the mud, we have like more of a clay than a dirt. And so if you go out and ride the trails within 24 hours, it just demolishes them. And so people have to come out and rework them, which, not ideal.
Ours are kind of natural. So, but we do have man-made stuff as well, but it kind of, So, but I'm getting a lot of mountain biking in as well now at the moment. We got to get back out again, and with kind of the end of the year, I blame you actually, really.
Good.
You going outside and quite a lot, I'm putting it in the back of the Tacoma, and I was like, I can do that with my Land Rover. And
yeah.
so,
Hey, yours is cooler.
So, well, it actually got its very first official spin to the mountain the weekend before last. Because it was like kind of nice spring day, and like, because I don't have doors or windows, I just have my bikini top, so it's not only on the Jeep,
but the one you're on right now,
not this one. There's actually one of these days I have to tell you the funny story about buying that bikini top. But anyway, so we got to go to the mountain in it, and it got loads of praise from all the locals.
Oh, I'm sure you were the talk of the trail.
Yeah, I think that was,
yeah.
That crazy lunatic driving his roofed Land Rover up here with a mountain bike on the back.
Yeah.
Like that.
The closest I get to that is with the Mini, when it's actually a complete car. I got one of those like suction cup mounts, the Sea Sucker ones, I think is the name, and I mount that on the back, and when I get up to the trail, people are like, what is that thing? And then, so that's always fun. But yeah. Oh man.
Then you have to give it a blast of the blow off valve now, because
that's true. That is true. Although right now I just need to blow off all of the sand from the sand blaster. That poor Mini is just such a mess right now.
Poor baby. But look, you know the story. You gotta break eggs to make omelets.
That is true. Yep, and there's lots of broken eggs in this garage right now.
There's something very interesting. You have a new garage as well.
Oh, you noticed? Did you notice?
Oh, well, I don't know. I thought you put 2 new doors in.
Oh, yeah.
Through to the sitting room or whatever used to be the other side of that red wall.
Yeah, we got rid of the living room, and so now it's just another garage bay. Now, we moved, since we did the last live stream, we moved into this new place. It has a detached 2-car garage, and so it's much bigger, but you can see it's unfinished, so I just got done running all the wiring in here, so I have lights and all the important stuff. But
a little bit more in your garage than I have, then, because I don't even have wires.
Yeah. So, but man, I'm so excited to see I hope you share at least some videos. I know it's so hard to make videos on a garage build, but
we're gonna try and do it.
Yeah, I'm keen to see it.
With good ideas, and it's going to be a really cool space when we have it done. Billy has some really good ideas. He's making a really cool spot for us to actually do our live streams. Like, she's going to be a part of the building. Well, we've kind of got a little reception area that we're making. Well, a chill out. We're not going to call it reception. Chill out. Yeah. So, where we can have coffee and chat and stuff, and we're going to have that all set up for doing live feeds. So that's going to be cool.
I did see that, or I did hear you mention in your last video that you're going to be doing like a loft space as well.
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
always wanted a shop that had a loft space. Never been in a place where it could fit.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm super
I
jelly about that.
purposely built the building tall enough so I could do that for that exact reason. Two things I really wanted. I wanted a balcony that I could look down on the cars from,
Uh
basically, so
huh.
I could look
Uh
down
huh.
on the workshop from. And then I wanted the engine shop. Everybody wonders why I want the engine shop upstairs, but I really want the engine shop upstairs because there's an old Porsche garage that I used to visit in Germany, and they
Mm-hmm.
moved their engine shop upstairs in their building away from the dust, basically. That was the whole thing. So
Ah,
they put it in a
okay.
room upstairs, so it's just this like almost their engine shop was unbelievable. They tiled floors and it was
Wow. So
really
when you said that before, because I remember you saying that you were going to put the engine shop up there, and it sounded really cool, but I wanted to know how you were going to get those engines up there. Like, I'm sure that's what
um,
everybody asked, but
everybody's
like,
excited about that. I have a
yeah,
plan. I have a
you have
plan.
a, it,
It's going to be something like one of these. I don't know if you've ever seen old mills that used to grind flour and stuff. They used to have these bag hoists that went up through the middle
oh
of the
yeah,
floor,
uh-huh,
and they had a kind of a door that opened like that to let the bag come up and then kind of flop back closed.
shot back
That
down.
that kind of an idea for an engine.
Oh, that's cool.
So
That's going to be
we're
really,
gonna
really
we're
cool.
gonna build an engine hoist into the ceiling, basically, of the main building that can lift an
On
engine
like
right
an
up through the floor.
I-beam or something, like a
Yeah, exactly.
gantry.
Exactly.
That's
And
going to be
build
cool.
lift engines all the way through. Well, the idea is the machine shop is going to be directly underneath the engine shop, so you can do all the machine work on the engine blocks, wash them, clean them, and then bring
Uh-huh.
them up to be built
In
in
the
the
clean
yeah,
space.
yeah, in the clean space. Exactly.
Oh man, well, I can't wait to see it. I hope
Yeah,
either when you build it, do a tour after. I'm sure you
yeah,
will, but like I can't wait. So,
yeah. We'll try and show it. Anyway,
oh man,
enough about
yeah,
my shop for now.
yeah. I was sorry. I'm trying to get you to spill some beans.
Yeah, people will be sick of listening to me already.
Oh man, but
They've got to watch
we,
a load of videos of me doing it, so don't ruin it.
we're just gonna tell you about it. You don't get to see it. We're just gonna, you
Yeah,
just have to interpret it.
it's just gonna appear. But you know the way I build things, like that's what somebody said to me recently. He said that's what they're afraid of. One day it'll be a video of it in pieces, and then the next day it'll be done. And they're like, "Oh, we're meant to get stages here, steps."
Yeah, yeah. Well, but I mean,
Okay,
hey,
cool.
you gotta get stuff done. Oh, well, we have a boatload of comments coming through.
Wow, they're fine.
Yeah, and I do actually want to call one out. It's not related to cars, but Adam mentioned it. He asked if you'd lost some weight, and I actually agree. I think you've lost some weight. Have you trimmed up a
Maybe a
little bit?
trimmed up a little bit. I think all this mountain biking might be helping a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll
Might
kick
have
your
to
ass,
do
that's
it
for
again.
sure. Oh man, but well, cool. Let's jump into some questions. Do you want me to pick the first one, or do you want to
Yeah,
do
go
it?
for it. Go for it. Yeah, no, you
Okay,
go.
okay. Let's see here. Lots of very, very kind words. All right, so we've got a question that says, need advice on spark plugs. I have an A plus 998 with a Dizzy of 59D on an electric AccuSpark points and red AccuSpark coil with an HIF 44. Which spark plug should I use? Cue us up for a little easy one there.
What? HI 44 1275? Standard
998
tune?
A plus.
Well,
A plus.
998
Yeah.
A plus standard tune. It's
Yeah.
right. It's gonna be. I'm gonna give you NGK numbers because it's the only spark
Uh-huh.
you've ever put in the car. But anyway, made in Japan by people who know what they're doing.
Yep.
I would go probably with. I would try it on a BP5 ES, which is kind of a non-resistive, nice, reasonably cool. Well, it's actually kind of a hot plug. And then if you find that you're getting pink in a detonation, I'd head up to a BP6 ES.
Yep. I'd agree with that. I don't think you need the resistor. It's got points. It's not
Yeah,
necessary.
because you got AccuSpark and you've got those leads. I presume it's got silicon leads. So if it's got silicon leads and an AccuSpark, it's not going to need resistive plugs as well. The only reason you might go resistive plugs with it is if you were getting lots of interference over the radio or something like that, and you wanted to just try and get an extra bit of buzz out of it. But it'll be completely fine on non-resistive. You'll get a brighter, sharper spark as well. 998s love all the spark they can get, really.
Yep, totally agree with that. And I totally agree with the sentiment around NGK spark plugs as well. They are
Yes.
the best. I
Yeah.
use them.
Look. Yeah. Yeah.
There's
They're the
nothing else.
Toyota of spark plugs. That's all I can say, really.
They are. They are. I use the BPR 7 ES in my turbo car. Those work great. I've never had a problem with them. And just the standard tips, none of the like iridium tips or anything like that. I'm sure
Wasted
they.
in mini because their combustion
Yeah.
engines is just and how fuely they are. They just don't like them. Like
Yeah.
you can run iridium tips in the 16 valvers because you can get them down to a fueling that will actually keep them hot enough to stay clean. But put NGKs into a heart-shaped cylinder head like a mini, it's not going to be good.
No, they'll foul out too much. I did want to mention something you probably just saw pop on the screen. We set up a kind of like a virtual tip jar. So if you feel like you like the answers we're giving you, like the thing that we're doing here with this live stream, or just want to support us in general, this is a great way to do it. Just scan that little barcode or that QR code. It'll bring you to a page and all that stuff. Definitely not required, but certainly appreciated if you feel like supporting us. And if you do, thank you so much. You'll see that pop up from time to time as we're going through this. We'll be switching between that and the chat.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call one out here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering. I seen a comment coming in there, which was from Thomas McVinci, I think it was. Yeah, he was saying, yeah. What about David Vizard? Does anyone watch him on YouTube?
Yeah.
And then I think Ian Kent said, I watched David's video, all of David's videos. Yeah, he's on YouTube, I think. But he hasn't been active, I don't think, much recently, has he?
Kind of off and on. I know that he's been kind of battling off and on some health issues, so I'm sure he kind of jumps in and out.
Yeah, that's fair. Yes.
To answer that, I would say, so David Vizard, I can't remember which way he likes to be said, or likes it to be pronounced, but he actually lives like 30 minutes away from my house in Mooresville, North Carolina. It's very funny. Kind of a small world, but
yeah, he's not far from you, right?
Yeah, just up the street. And we originally were going to talk about doing like a chat with him and doing a call with him. Ended up falling through. It was like right at the beginning of COVID, and just it just didn't end up working out. But I personally watch a few of his videos. I find that the subject matter when he's talking about it is pretty interesting, but it's not directly correlated to a lot of the things I'm doing. So it's kind of hit or miss for me. I join it sometimes, but not in any regularity.
Yeah, I'd kind of be the same as well. Like sometimes I have to say, some of the stuff I find incredibly interesting, and he's obviously clearly very knowledgeable about the subjects he talks about. But yeah, I think he has moved quite a ways away from the world we're in towards kind of big American V8s. I wanted to say big Yankee V8s there, but
Hey, if the shoe fits, if the flip flop fits.
Yeah, we're still the flip flop. Yeah, no, that's be an Australian V8, I think.
Right.
I suppose there is some correlation still in that they're still push-rod motors. And the US is pretty much the only country left that's still developing push-rod 2-valve per cylinder engines. So
but that's getting even fewer and far between. Especially with the high efficiency stuff.
It's really starting to. I suppose with the pinch and gas, it's probably made a big effect as well. People are moving away from that completely now, right?
It is surprising how little the gas issues in terms of price and availability have. It actually doesn't seem to have impacted Americans much. I still see just as many like enormous pickup trucks, probably getting 10 miles a gallon, on the road, which is wild to me. But I say that I literally drive one of them. But
what model is in your Tacoma? Is the V8?
V6. Yeah, it's a 3.8 liter V6, I think, or 3.6. I forget.
Yeah, it goes more than 10 to the gallon now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It does 15. Okay.
Yeah. Well, even Toyota couldn't handle. They were like, no, no,
No.
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 This is what they want, but no.
I will say the engine and platform that's in that Tacoma is like almost 20 years old, though. I mean, it's been updated, obviously, but the like core of it has not been.
That's an engine and transmission that's literally just produced for you guys, right?
I think so. Yeah, it's in the Forerunner, the Tacoma, and then I think it's in one of their other cars, maybe the Highlander. Or the
Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter, but yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'm
just
actually.
for your
I'll probably be turning in that Tacoma here pretty soon. It's the end of the lease in November. I think I might get myself a.
Jeez, I remember when you got it.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna get a Subaru Outback.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've Haley was giving me a hard time and said,
You got 'em.
yes, like almost 3 times as much. So, but anyway, new cars. We don't care about new cars. We're here about minis.
All right.
Oh, here's one.
These comments, huh? Yeah, go.
Yeah. This one's from Fast Mini. Thoughts on when subframe reinforcement is necessary?
Good question.
That is a cool question. It's something that I've been considering. In fact, my 2 subframes are literally sitting on the floor right over here, fully built up. And I have heavily been considering reinforcing some of the portions of them, specifically the strut towers, and then making it easier to jack the car up, building some sort of like jacking point. But curious what you think. Have you done in that?
Generally speaking, the reinforcements that we've done to subframes here have been for racing applications, and the main reason we're reinforcing is not for power but for stability and stiffness. So I suppose handling is really where that all comes in. One of the big things that I suppose is often overlooked with the Mini is that the entire suspension arrangement is completely contained within the subframe. And the body of the car has very little to do with the geometry of the car. So the only real major difference in geometry in Mini is the front to rear kind of torsion. So if the car twists, that's affected by the body. But pretty much every other piece of geometry when it comes to how that car will handle is controlled within the subframe. So adding stiffness to the subframe just adds more control pretty much. And the more power you put into a Mini, the more control you want to have and the more stability you want to have. And
very fair points.
Yeah, stiffening up a subframe, adding gussets, seam welding. I think seam welding is probably one of the simplest and most effective ways to stiffen a subframe. I pretty much do it anytime I have a subframe blasted down, I get in there with it. And the best way to do it actually is with the old arc welder, the one with the rods, the stick welder.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, because it'll burn right in and it doesn't mind if there's a little bit of paint or a small bit of rust or really anything like that, and you'll get a really strong, stout weld that you really won't get with MIG or TIG. I've seen somebody recently trying to TIG weld one, and if it was brand new and never went near, getting painted or whatever, then you could probably TIG weld them then. But the oldie stick welder with 18650 rods and just run away in there all day long. You'll add so much stiffness to a subframe just doing that, because 80% of the subframes are spot welded. So it's a simple and quick way to put something together, but rigidity it does not offer.
Yeah, there is actually one thing I was thinking of around. There might be, and this isn't necessarily a reinforcement of the subframes, but if you are converting the car maybe to coilovers, it might be worthwhile to reinforce the strut tower mounts on the body around the rear.
Very worthwhile point. Yeah.
And then the 2 in the front there, because I mean, really, they just are like a little bit of steel that goes into some sheet metal. So.
Yeah, the rear ones definitely in pretty much all of the cars. The rear top shock mounts are the ones that I think are hilarious. You get guys putting in hugely expensive shock absorbers, with double rebound and all of this, and then all of that is acting on a piece of half 0.5 millimeter plates, pressed steel arches.
Yes.
They're just flopping around in the breeze inside there. The only form of rigidity is the rear seat back.
Yes, yes. And if that rear seat back
Yeah.
has at all been like it cut or has fatigue in it, like that's
You get
too
one of those
funny.
seat backs and it's not in the car. You can do a roll tires on it and it will wobble all day long.
Like, why is the alignment so bad on my car? I just can't figure it out. It's like,
So, yeah, in there definitely. I know Ian, the Cooper S Traveller, I know he has a van and he made like a strut race to go across the rear subframe. Sorry, the rear wheel arch towers, and that was a lovely job. It's over on his channel. It looked really, really neat job. I know in a lot of races we would try and weld the bar in there or try and catch it with the cage somehow.
yep. Van's a perfect candidate too because you don't have that fuel tank in the way.
Exactly. Yeah.
With a saloon, you basically have to move to a fuel cell in order to be able to do something like that.
It is so tough to do it with it. Or else, like get somebody to like put a sleeve all the way through your fuel tank.
Yeah, that's definitely sounds cost effective.
Yeah, that would be no expense in that. Maybe don't get that stick welded though.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe if you're underwater.
Or don't like your eyebrows anymore.
Yeah, right. So here's a question I want to answer because I like boosted stuff. This is from Edward. Yeah, I know, it's crazy, right? Can you guys give us your 2 cents on the Rotrex supercharger kit from Specialist Components compared to a turbo for an MPI with a Calver ST266SS cam? It's a long question. I grabbed it, so I can answer it first if you want.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, if I was to buy a supercharger now, I would definitely choose a Rotrex system, simply because it allows a better installation for a blow-through setup. So you can keep like a turbo HIF 44 carb. I've never used that cam, that Calver cam, so I can't really comment on that. But I definitely choose that over a suck-through system like the VMAX kits. I think the kits from VMAX are really excellent, in build quality, but you're going to have a better running car.
Too than the Rotex. The Rotex is very expensive. Though.
Yes, yeah, the VMAX kits are definitely at a lower price point because there's just less moving parts and things associated with them. But that Rotrex kit I think also is just fuel injected, so yeah. But all that to say, I definitely would go that route if I was going to go supercharger. I obviously went turbocharger. I like the nature of a turbo a little bit more, I have found. So
yeah, I've never actually had the experience of a Rotex. The only Rotex I've done anything with or have had any close contacts with was on a Lotus Elise. I think it had the Honda B series, the 1.8 or the 2 liter B series engine, and
oh, cool.
it was supercharged with one of those Rotex, already fuel injected, so it kind of lended itself to that mod, probably a bit easier than the Mini, but I was astounded at the performance of it. I was really now I know at the time he had some reliability issues, but I think it was early days in the Rotex world as well, and they were
I see.
problem solving some stuff at higher boost and stuff. But I think that's all sorted out now. They don't have problems with it now. But yeah, I really like the idea of the way it works. It's almost getting rid of that kind of lag, but giving you the performance of a turbo. It's a nice idea.
That's actually a really good way to put it, because at the end of the day, their assembly, you look at the two of them, I mean, they're pretty much the same. They're both spinning to generate boost. It's just that that supercharger is going to be very much more linear. I mean, the nature of superchargers in general is you have that linear power curve where the turbo is like it has to ramp up. You got to generate that boost and that exhaust pressure in order to build up that power. So if you like a linear power band, which a lot of people do, I think most people do actually. I say that like it's a weird thing, but
I don't know. I remember years and years and years ago we had a Mini here with the old T3, and I loved the wall boost that hit around whatever it was, 3,500 RPM. I loved that experience. I didn't love when you had somebody beside you in their non-aspirated car and you're like, you just wait a minute and I will be.
Yeah, you wait.
You be pulling gears for a minute and then you is by, But anyway.
Yes. That's the part. But it gives you an opportunity for drama. That's what it's all about. You're building up the tension.
That's what we need, more drama.
Yeah, they're definitely not dramatic enough. Oh no. Yeah. So why don't you pick the next question?
Oh yeah. Actually, I wanted to I seen CJ Laser was asking about spark plug answer. The answer to the spark plugs we gave was on that level of the 998. We were saying start with a BP5 ES or if you were getting detonation or pre-combustion BP6 ES. Okay. Potato Edwards asked a question here. How long have you guys been working on cars? I would be inclined to say that I have been working on them since I could pick up a spanner and go near one, I think. And even then I was working on them in my mind.
Nice.
That question is coming from a niece of my colleague. So big shout out.
Hello, Holly.
Good to see you here on this on our channel.
Yeah. To answer the same question, I have been working on cars in general, not at a mechanics level, probably not even close to akin to what you've been doing, but since I was about 16, basically as soon as I learned that I could participate in the car world. 16 is the licensing age here, and it all started obviously with like electronics for me. It's how surprising, right? Then it kind of grew into the mechanical side and other parts of the mini world for me. So she also has one more question: what our first car was.
That was a good question, right?
Yeah. I'll start that one. So my first car is a controversial one in terms of whether you like it or you hate them. I don't know that you guys ever got them over there, but it was the Honda Element.
I'm Googling a picture of the Honda Element right now. I want to see what this looks like.
Okay, yeah. You need to look it up. Mine was black. It was 2000. Yeah, it was 2000.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I loved it. It was the best thing because it had four-wheel drive. Well, it had all-wheel drive. It was not very good four-wheel drive. But it got me everywhere I brought it, places I really probably shouldn't have brought it. And
plans to drive the four-wheel.
Dude, the best part was the back seats folded up or could be completely removed, and you'd have these enormous dog carrying thing. Yeah, I mean it was basically a van, but it didn't look as much like a van.
Yeah, I don't think we got them here.
It was atrociously underpowered though. It terribly slow, but it didn't matter.
People would drive one. It'd be like on the forecourt for 100 years. Leaving in that. You delivered my house under the cover of darkness.
Yeah, no. Listen, my license plate, now that you've seen it, it'll make sense. My license plate actually was Boombox. That was my personalized plate. To give you an insight into what kind of person I was when I was a kid.
Oh, very good. Oh, that was good. That was good. I'm going to call one here now. Paul Robinson asks, what's wrong with the good old champion spark plugs? I don't know. Ask people who used to try and keep Spitfires in the air. I'll tell you all about those.
Ooh, low blow.
Not a low blow, yeah, it was, yeah. Sorry, Paul. Just
Oh, so good. Oh, well, hey, wait, what was your first car?
my first car. I'm trying to think. I had some. It was a Volkswagen Vento. I don't think you guys got Ventos.
No, I
But
don't
it
think
would
so.
have been like between a Golf and a Passat. It was like the crossover. So it was like a saloon Golf, kind of. is what it
Okay.
was.
We called
So
them
like-
Jet. Yeah, we actually did get those, but they were called Jettas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They changed from Jetta here. We had Jetta as well, and then they decided Jetta needed a facelift or something, and so they called it Vento.
Oh,
And then they've
fancy.
since gone back to Jetta. They went back to Jetta.
Oh, did they?
Because
Huh.
I think
That's
isn't
funny.
Vento in Italian? Is that like big or is it? Oh no, that's Venti. Is it?
That's Venti. I don't know if Vento might be like past tense or something of it. I'm actually not sure. Yeah. Obviously not fluent in Italian.
Well, come on, Cole. I mean, you have got an Italian passport. So.
Oh God, no. Oh
Speaking of
yeah.
which, how excited are you for IMM?
Dude, I'm so excited, and now that like you guys said that you might be coming, I'm over the moon. So I'm gonna have to connect up with y'all. I'm gonna have a few other mini YouTubers that are gonna be going there. I want to connect up with, and yeah, I'm just so excited about that trip. I need a break. I need a vacation.
Oh, we did too. We had one trip planned that was supposed to happen around the time on the topic. There was just no way we could go. And then the people that we were going with, they've since had to change their arrangements. So we got freed up that weekend. So we were like, you know what? Let's try and make this happen. So Bill is working hard in the background trying to book his flights and
Beautiful.
accommodation and all of that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's 99.9% in the bag that we're going to go. So,
Oh,
yeah.
that's wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm basically, so for those of you who are watching this that are going to be at IMM and want to connect up, I'll be there on Friday and Saturday. I'm not going to be there on Sunday, but those are my 2 days. This is like we're turning it into a much bigger Italian trip for us, so we're going to the Dolomites and then kind of working our way down. And so those are my 2 days that are just me. My wife has a friend of hers that's coming as well. They're going to go off and do their own thing because she's not all into the like mini stuff.
You just need to spend 4 days looking at things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say ours might probably be something similar as well. I don't think we're going to be there for the 4 days either. We've got a work commitment on the Monday, so we've got to figure our way around flights and stuff. But we're definitely going to get there for a day or two anyway. And get
Sweet. So jealous. So jealous of the ease of which you're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna pop down to Italy real quick. Freaking.
Yeah, like flights actually are not as cheap as we thought they were going to be. They're normally quite cheap, but they're going to cost us quite a bit. But that's just because we're booking them so late.
Yeah, I bet it's because it's close.
Yeah, it's close. Yeah. Billy's showing me an amount of fingers in the background. I'm not thinking about it.
Oh.
Alrighty, I suppose we should answer some more of these comments.
Yes. So I actually got some questions that came in. I posted on Instagram before this, and I might pause a minute on the ones in the chat. If you have some more that you want answered, please keep posting them in the chat. We'll definitely get back to them. But I had one around the fuel injection systems, which is why I actually have the ECUs up here with me right now. I don't just have them on for display like a weirdo. But my goal, or the two questions. One was around knock sensing and knock control. And so one of my Patreons said, they're looking at the Elite 1500 Haltech ECU. And they were thinking that it didn't have knock control, but it does. You need what's called a knock sensor. I know it's a very creative name. And it looks something like this. It's basically just a little sensor with metal on the back of it. And this gets mounted directly to your block. This reads the resonance inside your block. It's just got magic inside, and it reads it somehow. And then your ECU interprets that and says, oh, your engine's knocking. I need to adjust the fueling. So
that's very
Yeah, it's pretty neat. It's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to upgrade the ECU, was to see that, as you get like deep into high boost levels, that's where you start to see knock. You know this. I'm not teaching you anything, but so having knock control allows you to push those limits without fear of detonating and destroying your car, and definitely something I would recommend if you're going to run a boosted car. So that was one question, and then I think I had a question.
Yeah. Did you have any questions? Did I see a question?
Well, since you asked, if she's watching this right now, I gotta answer at least one. She did ask me, once I got the Subaru, which style of Birkenstocks I was gonna pick up for myself, and to which I respond, rude. And second, I also respond that you'll have to pick them out for me, because I trust your judgment. You know Birkenstocks way better than me, babe. But there was a question for you too. This was around the RTS clutch setups.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me pull it up because it was a long one.
Dude.
It'll take me a minute. I think I sent it to you too, though, right? Maybe?
You did.
You did? Do you remember it?
I have it up here. Let's see, can I find it?
God, we talk so
much
good, crap.
Right? Look at us. Yeah.
I beat you. I found it. So this one's around a Verdo clutch setup that has been modified to build out an RTS clutch, which is twin spring clutch setup. I'm going to set up Paul for this question, but he's the one who's going to answer it because he knows way more about it than me. Essentially, everything on the clutch is brand new. And the holding power is very good, but when he is trying to press the clutch in, it basically has to go all the way to the floor before it really disengages. Yeah. And so he's looking for some guidance on maybe why that's happening, given all of the components on it are brand new.
Yeah, so me and you kind of hammered this back and forward a little bit in WhatsApp last week, and really, in my mind, it could be one of a couple of things. And we presume, given the comment being sent in, that it was this guy who built it himself. So I'm going to talk as if you are the guy who built it, so that it makes sense to you.
Hello, it is me.
Yeah. So it wasn't you that built it anyway, and it definitely wasn't me. So there's only one of those floating around in the world at the moment. And there's soon to be two, and that'll be one of two. But anyway, what I think, my really gut feeling, not obviously seeing it or anything like that, but hearing what he said, my gut feeling is what's happening is that the bevel spring, that is those kind of fingers that you see. So when you look at at a vertical clutch, you see a bunch of fingers, obviously arranged in a circle. And those fingers basically have to be pressed in this way, and that lifts the pressure off the clutch plate to allow it to freewheel or to spin freely. My thinking is that those fingers, when the clutch is completely set up, need to be basically flat. So they need to be almost flat with just a very tiny amount basically kind of sticking out the way, if that makes sense, towards the clutch cover. Then when you press the clutch pedal, you don't have a very big distance to move to release it. But having built a few of these RTS clutches myself, if you don't get the spacing exactly right there's a kind of a ring that clamps those down, and if you don't get the spacing exactly right on that, what happens is when you build the whole thing up, the bevel spring sits kind of at this angle rather than sitting flat. It'll still have a huge amount of holding power, so the clutch won't slip, but you'll have a huge amount of movement to go through on the spring before you get it to actually release on the plate. And it's my good feeling that that's what's going on.
Yeah, and actually, let me just share so you guys can see. This is what Paul's talking about. These are the fingers on it. I just pulled this image off of Google, so I don't even know whose this is, but yeah, that webbing there.
And that's exactly the kind of bit. So if you can see there's a ring of bolts holding that kind of diaphragm down. If and you can actually see it in that image there. You can kind of see that the fingers are very much kind of at this angle. They want to be kind of more at this angle. And two things adjusts that. The clamping of you drill out rivets. I did a video on a whole rig I made to drill out these rivets. You drill these rivets out and you replace them with a nut and bolt and a spacer, and that provides the initial clamping of the spring, and then the horn heights all the way around the flywheel are what set kind of where that bevel spring sits when you bolt the whole thing up. And adjusting those horn heights will change that bevel, and if you can pretty much lowering the horn heights will bring that bevel in, but we're talking about a couple of thousandths at a time. And you really need a lathe to do it, because you need to kind of set we could do it in a milling machine as well, but you're going to need a machine of some kind. It's not something you're going to be able to file off. And then that's going to change how the clutch behaves, and you'll hopefully need less kind of spring pressure. I actually did a video on a good while ago, but I did it on the pre-Verto setup, and I changed the horn to affect the way the clutch bevels. The principle is the same. It's literally the exact same principle, just unfortunately on the Verto it just looks differently. It's a different construction the way it bolts together, but the principle is the same. You're trying to get that bevel spring to sit kind of flat. Not flat, but near flat.
Yeah, nearly flat. Like just before flat, right? Like,
I remember you actually saying to me before that you kind of had a little bit of trouble with this too. Like you found your clutch pedal kind of very heavy, or not very heavy, but it just wasn't pleasant, I think.
Yeah. There were a few challenges with that clutch that's in my car right now. It holds exceptionally well. I think it was
really
rated.
powerful.
Yeah, it's like rated to almost 290 foot-pounds, which is silliness. I mean, getting a little feedback from you there.
Right, was that on my microphone? Yeah. I noticed. Just give me 1 second. Actually, you wouldn't just change it. I just noticed that there's like a magnet sitting in the end of this, which I don't think is right. Give me 1 second. It's like technical issue here.
I'm going to mute you for right now.
Yeah.
All right. So while he's getting that sorted out, I'll answer this next question here. So Joe, thank you for the donation of $5 on Super Chat. For those of you who aren't aware, Super Chat's guaranteed the question is answered. Obviously, we're getting a lot of questions, so we're trying to keep up with them. But thank you so much for that donation. And your question is, run 1275A plus single HS4 with AAB needle, AccuSpark 59D. Cold, it starts easy. After a drive, it doesn't want to start and gets a little choppy at idle. Ideas. Yeah, so assuming after a drive, I'm going to just make an assumption that it's kind of like a little bit longer drive. It's not just like around the neighborhood, but maybe like to the store and then maybe back, or something longer. I have seen that happen on cars. It's sometimes that it can be driven by two things, or at least two that really pop into my mind at the moment. One is around overfueling. So the car gets too much fuel right at the end, and then the plugs are a little bit fouled, or you are overfueling throughout the whole power band. And so you ultimately have fouled spark plugs when you try to start it up again, but you don't have those when you initially try and start it, because that fuel that had been building up residue on there had kind of worked its way off as it evaporated. So let me turn Paul back on here. Can you hear me okay, Paul?
Yeah, I got you. Have you got me?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. My microphone just decided to completely die in the middle of that one. So luckily we had the spare.
Nice.
No ideas why that happened. I just couldn't put up listening to me anymore.
Oh yeah. It's like, oh god, this Irish guy.
I met him.
Yeah, I was just busy answering one of the super chat questions here from Joe. He said he runs a 1275A plus with a single HS4, an AAB needle, A 59D cold start, it starts very easily. After a drive, it doesn't want to start and gets choppy at idle.
Okay.
My initial thought was maybe overfueling. After a long drive, the plugs maybe are fouled, and so when you go to restart it,
Yeah.
they are a little dirty with fuel. But on a cold start, it had evaporated off, and so it's a little bit keener to start. But maybe you
Yeah,
have some
definitely.
additional ideas.
If the starting symptom, the choppy at idle definitely sounds like overfueling. That's a really common symptom of overfueling. Is that kind of a really erratic kind of, it'll be a misfiring pretty much. Um, Given that it's a standard 1275A plus on a single HS, AAB is really not a million miles out. It's stage one, I think, is normally around that. So I'd love to. My first thing I'd say to him is if you can get it to somebody who has a gas spectrum analyzer and they can have a look and see what its air fuel ratio is. Yeah, it'd be lovely to see what it would be when it's at idle there after a drive and it's warm. The fact that it starts easy, if it doesn't need any choke to start, then it's overfueling, 110%.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
So if it'll start easily without choke, or start at all really actually without choke, it shouldn't. A cold Mini shouldn't start without choke, or it should take an incredibly long time to get it to fire up without choke. Whereas if it's starting easy without choke, well, that kind of would steer me straight to it's overfueling. But I think you've hit the nail on the head, and it is that.
Yeah. And he did mention one other thing. It's after a short drive. So could also be that.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, he just come in there with needs choke. Interesting. It could be a coil breaking down too. It could be a coil breaking down. Sometimes when they're cold, when the coil itself is actually freezing cold, it'll give a really good spark. But then when it becomes warm in use, the spark tapers right off. And Minis are very picky about spark. They need lots and lots and lots of spark. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what's going on. It could be a mixture of both. But I know, just looking at it, it's a 59D with an AccuSpark. I'd be interested to know what coil is in it and what ohm coil it is. If this is something that you've done recently, if the coil, brand new coil, could be bad out of the box.
It might just be the improperly suited coil if it's brand new.
Might be the wrong coil. Yeah, and it's overheating it. It's pushing the coil too hard, so it'll be fine for a few minutes and then pushing the coil too hard. It's definitely you've got two things there. I'd love to know. Oh, flamethrower. Yeah, if it's there's two different flamethrower coils. There's a 1.5 ohm and there's a 3 ohm. So it'd be interesting to see which one it is.
Yeah. So there was a question from the Instagram chat, and I'm sorry, folks, over on Instagram. I just got a message from my wife that the video has been kind of weird because it expects vertical video, and we're delivering a horizontal video. So sorry for y'all over there. This is new for us. The Instagram
work in
streaming.
progress.
Yeah. So thanks for the patience on that. But there was a question around, and this question we've gotten probably in every one of our live streams, but I like to always go back to the basics. It's a good one. What is the oil that you use in your Classic Mini? Best oil for a Classic Mini?
For me, I have two absolute favorites. I love Valvoline. It's probably one of my absolute favorite oils. The Valvoline 2050 that they sell. Fantastic. I love it.
Yes, it is.
Just one of the best. I sometimes run. They do another one which is 1560, I think it is, or something around that. Don't quote me on that. Actually, I need to check and see which one it is. I run that in racers because it's a little bit more stable at really high RPM. It gives more stable oil pressure at really high RPM. But on a road car, the Valvoline 2050. And here in Europe, I don't know how easy you guys get it, but the Miller 2050 is good as well.
Oh yeah, we don't get that.
Yeah, I think you guys...
that's an import only for us. So
yeah.
us North American folks, I would agree. The Valvoline VR1 is what they call the brand here. I don't know if it's the same there, but
Yeah, it's VR1 here, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that is awesome. I have experienced the same thing that you have, though. At really higher RPMs, it tends to get a little too thin, and so so I would recommend exactly what you said. Get a little bit thicker one if you are sustaining those higher RPMs, or your car is just generally hotter. Like maybe you run a turbo and you're piping the oil through that already.
I think they do a semi-synthetic. I think it's 1560. I think it is. It's actually a Honda recommended for racing. I think it is.
Interesting.
I'll do a little googling here.
Yeah, and then if you're in a pinch for oil and you're just out and about here in North America, Castrol GTX it's just a standard conventional oil that is 20W50 as well. That works really well, plain and simple, no frills, and it was good for a road car. I wouldn't use that in an ultra high performance car personally, but Valvoline, the VR1, and the Castrol you can pick up pretty much at any store. So, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, it's VR1 1060 is what they do.
1060. Okay.
Yeah, it's VR1 1060. It's low zinc sulfate, so
nice.
It's exactly. The only thing about it is anyone using it, I would always recommend it needs to be very regularly changed in a Mini because it does not like the gearbox. That's the problem.
Oh yeah.
The gearbox puts it under huge pressure, and it doesn't have good shear capacity in the gearbox. So when I was sending oil samples back at the time to the lab, we did them on a racing car, obviously, but it wouldn't be that much different, I don't think, on the road. What we found was over the first 20 hours it was really, really good, and then after that it was breaking down something terrible and coming apart.
Interesting.
And when I talked to the Valvoline rep here, he said, yeah, it's because it's such a low zinc content oil. That's exactly why it's doing it. And if you look at some of the more old classic oils, they're really high zinc content because of gearboxes and.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting because, well, I mean, like you kind of think about it, that's probably just good advice, anyways. Like the Mini needs to have its oil changed pretty frequently. I mean, like I change the oil in mine every 5,000 miles for the most part. I don't really let it sit there for much longer than that. Or if the car is sat for a long time, I don't generally run that oil very long after that. So that's just great. You got good advice anyway.
Yeah. So I didn't even think I'd done it before. I've seen a couple of questions come in there. One is so I'm robbing this now, but anyway, is Gretel ever coming back? She absolutely is, and it's going to be something very exciting, but it's for a video for another time. So we have not forgotten about her, and she absolutely is coming back and going to be coming back with a bang. But like everything in its own good time.
Yes, I'm excited to hear about that. This is the first time hearing about it too, so I don't have any inside info, y'all. He never tells me anything.
I'm terribly secretive about certain things. I tell everybody everything most of the time, but some stuff I keep secret. So
yeah. Well, you gotta add a little drama.
You got it right, yeah.
Oh man. Well, I mentioned that I had another question about ECU stuff, and I didn't want to totally wrap up the whole stream about that stuff because I know not everybody is running an ECU or running fuel injection in their car. But I had some questions about the nature of the ECUs and why I picked the one that I am picking. If you haven't seen my most recent video, I just released it yesterday actually. I go really in depth about all of it, but to give you a brief overview, the reason I chose this Nexus R3 or any ECU that has a power distribution module is because I am running the power of the car. Literally every electrical device in the car is going to be run through these two devices. So no more fuse panel, no more relays. I'm
so excited about this. This is going to affect my future, so I'm actually insanely excited to see how you do this.
Man, it is I don't know. After using the PDM already, so I've used this device, which is just the power distribution system. After using that, I genuinely am going to have trouble using or working on cars that use fuses because they are so much more unnecessarily complicated.
Just
But
adding so many failure points.
yeah, so many wires, so many connections, so many devices, and it's weird. People like look at these and they're like, "Well, that's way more complicated." And inside, yeah, maybe it is, but from the usability standpoint and the end user, oh my god. So, little example. Basically, there's two different things that I'm very excited about with the power distribution. One is when you want to power something, you run the power feed directly from this device over to the device that needs power. And if that device shorts, if it has some sort of overcurrent issue, inside here is a solid state fuse, a solid state relay essentially, and that trips. And you get a little warning that says, hey, that circuit is messed up. And then you go fix it and you flip it back on. That's it. And so there's no fussing with fuses, there's no fussing with relays that may be shorted out, and it's also much safer. And so that's one thing. And then the other bit is that you can, the same way that this has power outputs, it also has power inputs. So all of the toggle switches on my car, all the factory switches just have at their core is just a 12-volt feed that goes in. When you flip it on, it completes a circuit and that power goes to the device that needs to turn on. This has inputs, and so you run 12 volts to the switch, and then when you flip your switch, sends the input into this, and then this, you map that input to the device you want to turn on. Oh, I'm just so keen on that. So you don't have to do you don't have to have some big LCD panel in your car. You literally can use the factory switches, toggle them, and it does the same thing.
And they're toggling low current with 12 volts. It's just brilliant. So you could have pretty much the most crapped out switch in the world and it's still going to work.
That is it. You can literally, those switches, you don't have to run 12 volts to them anymore because this can take anything from 1 to 12 volts, actually 1 to 18 volts in many of those inputs. And so
if it gets if you've got a completely crapped out switch, but it can still get 6 or 7 volts the other side to the ECU, it's going to pick it up and work. That's
exactly.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Fantastic.
So those are kind of the high level things. Very excited about that. But wanted to share that.
Of course, cheap chips as well, I presume. You can buy 2 or 3 of these.
So, all right. So it's new technology, so it's not cheap, unfortunately. As much as I love Haltech, they're definitely not the least expensive ones on the market.
You know what?
But
I profess this all the time. Buy once, cry once.
Yep.
And
get
it done once.
The best way I can describe Haltech is they are like the Apple of the ECU world. They are arguably most expensive in the market, but there's a reason. You get the best software. You get basically infinite warranty support with them. Not in terms of my hardware died after 20 years, but in terms of support, how do I do this? And how does this work? Always on the phone. And I can't overstate how wonderful it is. But yeah. Anyways.
I'm calling 2 comments out here. Steve asked, is my dog okay? My dog is absolutely top of the world. He does look like he's dead sometimes when he's sleeping, but I can promise you he's not. He's just sick of listening to me and just lying over there. And the other one, which is a bit more technical, was Ian asked, I thought high zinc content was very important. It is. That's what we were. I went a terribly bad long way about explaining that. The 1060 from Valvoline is brilliant and works really well at high temperatures and is very controlled, but it's very low zinc. And the problem with it being very low zinc is that doesn't work well with the gearbox. The Mini is a terrible compromise because it's sharing its oil between its engine and its gearbox, and the gearbox wants high zinc content, the engine does not. Modern engine components, they don't like loads and loads of zinc. So yeah, that's kind of the way up in it. So that's why I said if you're using 1060, it will work, but not for long periods of time. Whereas if you look at the likes of the VR1 2050, it's got a really high zinc content and works really well with classics. Suits cast iron, everything like that.
Here's one for you. What's the status on your rear anti-sway bar project?
Very interesting. The status is there's 2 out testing at the moment, and the reports back are fantastic. I'm really happy with them. A couple of little modifications I still want to do. There's a bracket or 2 that just could be easier to assemble. It's not that it's not working or doing anything like that. It'd just be nicer to assemble if I can just modify that bracket a little bit. And there's a little bit I want to refine in the actual making process of it. I can make them, but at the moment they're a little more time consuming than they need to be. I just need to spend some time making up some jigs to make them a bit easier and to use less oxyacetylene and stuff like that. So they're on their way. But yeah, the new workshop is definitely going to help me hugely with the ability to progress that sort of stuff, because at the moment I can't have multiple projects on the go at once. I have to kind of work at one thing at a time because I just don't have the space. You know, when I'm working on the anti-roll bar, I can only work on the anti-roll bar. When I'm working on an engine, I can only work on an engine. The new workshop is going to allow me have the ability to have a couple of things, kind of a couple of balls in the air at once. So hopefully I'll get to, I'm going to get to do that stuff. And yeah, our change of direction is a little bit more going to be focused towards that stuff as well. So hopefully we're going to see a bit of progress next year. Well, the back end of this year, early next year.
There is something interesting. You said there are 2 out on cars, and I'm looking at the subframe that's in my garage, and I don't see one on it. And I feel like there might have been some sort of mistake. Like,
you need to live in Ireland, Cole, and then there'll be one directly bolted to your subframe, because you'd be down here every day and you'd be making your own one.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, yeah. I'm getting a little bit of victim blaming vibes right now, but I'm just saying that.
You just keep talking sweetly like that, and there might be one on that subframe. Yeah, you never know.
Beautiful. Let's see here. One comment coming in from Instagram just on the topic of the devices that I have on my table here. I showed 2 devices. Yeah, so the one on the left side is the Haltech Nexus R3. This just came out actually a few weeks ago. It's a VCU, so it is the ECU and a power distribution module. And then on the right side, or my right, is the PD16, which is only a power distribution module. I'm using both because I have enough electronic devices that I need the outputs for both of them. But if you have a simpler electrical system, which many people do, you could probably get away with just one of the Nexus R3s. But I just have more devices, and I had this PD16 already, so I'm just going to couple them. They communicate over a CAN bus network, so it's like a Ethernet cable effectively between them. So data communication. Wow. Yeah, it's pretty magic.
Did I ever think I was going to see today? Huh?
Dude, right? Yeah, check this out. It's a little CAN hub. It's just like 4 plugs. I still don't fully, like, I get how CAN works, but I also don't at all. Like, it feels kind of like magic.
Yeah, I did a training course on it, like, it must be like 15 years ago, I think now. But when I did it, I remember it was actually BMW put the training on, because they just brought CAN into. I can't remember what the model was, but it was probably like the 5 series in the early 90s, I think. And we went to this 5-day training course, and 2 of the days was a technical engineer from Germany who clearly absolutely knew what he was talking about, but hadn't taught people before.
Oh,
so he was like, he was just like spilling information at us, and there was a couple of guys who were definitely like techie enough to take it in, and the rest of us were just getting caught up in terminology. And one of the guys, I'll never forget it, God love him, he looked over at me and he was like, they're sending information through light, because the CAN bus system was using, fiber optic to transmit the information, and he was just like,
What?
All the rest of it had gone completely. So yeah, magic definitely was the order of the day at that one, because the BMW guys basically, I think the sole aim was to frighten every Irish mechanic into never touching the cables that run through the car, because they knew if we did, we would immediately try and like cut them and solder them together. Or some version of that.
Yes.
And they're like, just you can't ever touch these, so they just bet that into us for like 4 days.
Leave these alone.
Yeah, these are not for you. Yeah. There was a great comment actually from a Honda engineer once. We went to this Honda training seminar, and he was a Japanese guy, and he was actually incredibly cool. I had a great time hanging out with him afterwards. But he opened the ceremony by bringing us down to the workshop and stood at the bonnet of a Honda Civic and said, "The only thing you guys can do if you open this bonnet is damage." Can you imagine just opening a technical training seminar like with, "You're gonna wreck it if you go near it."
Yeah.
Just leave it.
You just open the whole book and it's just the words "don't."
Leave it. It's not broken.
Yeah. Oh, okay then.
And you try putting petrol in it. That's probably all that's wrong. Yeah, but hey.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, it is the way of the future, and bringing some of this stuff into the classic car world is just it. People kind of like hem and haw about it, as you would say. I don't actually use that terminology, but I heard you say it before, so I'm going to say it. Yeah. But it is fun. Like, you're trying new stuff. The same way people who tried turbos on Minis that before there was ever a turbo on it got to experience that. That's what these things are. And like another comment actually came in on the Instagram chat, said, "What are you running with the ECU, the EFI motor?" And like, yeah, that is one of them. Like, this is drive-by-wire. There's no cable. You just plug this in, and the ECU and a sensor on your pedal is opening and closing this via this little motor. Like, that's cool. People are, I think, sometimes a little bit afraid of change, but
I have this concept in my head that I would absolutely, and it may well happen, I would love to create a one-off wiring loom that you could connect to one of those ECUs, and you could just land it straight into pretty much any Mini, and the only thing you would need would be like a couple of different connectors depending on what year you are. Like, if you were a 60s one, you need this block or that block to get onto your switches, or if you're this year or that year, you need this to get onto your switches, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And that just replaces, it just replaces everything, and you just, we get those looms made by somebody who's amazing at making wiring looms, and
that would be so cool.
It's going to cost a few grand, but it'll be a one-stop shop. You'll just spend a couple of grand, put it in your car, and then never have another wiring problem again. I would.
That would be so cool.
I would do anything to have that solution.
Yeah, I mean and this is like, obviously there are companies out there that have been doing and offer some things that are akin to what you're talking about. Like, Specialist Components has been making and offering these things for quite some time. Granted, the ECUs that they're using at this point are pretty antiquated and outdated. Like, not being mean or anything. They're just older ECUs.
No. They're older tech, and in fairness, their price point is very reasonable for what you get.
Yes.
But you're right.
Yes.
It's not the kind of tech that's in what you're sitting in front of you there now.
Yeah, and like, a lot of people, I get a lot of questions that are like, what ECU should I get? Should I get the Specialist Components kit? Why is yours different? What is that and this and that? I don't offer a complete kit, but the best advice I can give you on like what ECU to pick up is one that is new, that is fully supported, and at least newer, but yeah, fully supported, has software that is actually being updated. So things like Mega Squirt, Speeduino, ECU Master, Haltech, all of these are really exceptional companies. Speeduino and Mega Squirt are open source, but if you want an OEM style one. Haltech is the one, in my opinion. But there are
Their
DIY
stuff is
options.
fantastic. Yeah.
Dude,
No,
so good.
They have thought about it, and they've built it correctly. I
Yes.
think we're gonna reach a point in the next 10 years where there is going to be two very different kind of camps of people. There is going to be people who are going to buy and build their Mini, and they're going to, have the decision to do it over a number of years, and they're going to have in their head, this is going to cost me an arm and a leg, but
Yep.
at the end of it, I'm going to have a really brilliant car that's going to do everything I want. And then there'll be another camp of people that are going to love just fiddling and tuning and trying to get their Mini working and trying to get the original OEM stuff to work. I mean, there is complete merit in both of those camps.
Totally agree.
I think there's nothing wrong with either. But if you want a Mini that you're going to get into every day, no matter how long it's been sitting in the garage, or no matter how far you drive it, and it's just going to work, modern tech is going to make that much more achievable. Definitely.
Yep. Totally agree with that.
We're seeing it all over the classic car world. Like, you look at it at the likes of the guys with Singer and the Porsche, and you look at the likes of the lads doing the Land Rovers. I can't think what their name is now. Is it Outback or not Outback? No. But
I've seen them. I don't
UK,
remember the name.
That guy. Yeah, I can't think what they call themselves. But anyway, those guys. That's kind of where that's going. That's that world of a classic car in essence, but has modern tech, and that your Restomod is a really brilliant example of that. Fortunately, I think there is a good few people that are jumping on the bandwagon though of Restomod, and I think there's a lot left to be desired on how Restomodded it really is, and it's just I think you're going to have to be able to distill between tarted up and Restomod. Like in my book anyway, and I think you're kind of on the same page, Restomod is exactly what you're doing from the point of view of finding the best tech but trying to keep the silhouette of the car original. That's
that's exactly right. I think Restomod has become kind of a buzzword, and even when I started the series, the Restomod Mini, I didn't fully realize like what a buzzword it had become. And like I see the word Restomod attached to everything now, and it's like, and to be totally frank, not everything is a Restomod. Just because you're restoring a car and putting
modifying it, that's not Restomodding.
That's not Restomodding. Totally agree. And so there's a certain point, I don't like to gatekeep things. Like, if you want to call your car Restomod, go for it. But
what I think, and I agree with you. What my big fear is that there'll be companies that will put a big crazy price tag on a Mini and call it a Restomod Mini, and they're going to be likening it to the likes of the car you're building. And people might watch your videos or my videos or whoever it is and see and think, all right, well, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I can see why Cole's Mini is worth that much money, because look at all the tech he's put into it and look at all the time and energy he's put in it. But my fear is that these companies will be selling a Mini that won't actually be that. It'll be a tarted up one that kind of looks like it, but not. So
I mean,
that's where the gatekeeping is important.
Yeah. I mean, like, even some of the bigger companies that are out there right now, like the David Brown Minis, they're kind of like on that edge of like, are they truly a Restomod or just really nice inside with like a modern stereo? Like there's still carbureted A-series engines that run with distributors and like regular setups. I mean, I'm sure they have some electronic ignitions, but like,
are they cool? Are they great? Yeah, they are, and they look really nice and they're well made and all that. Yeah, great. Totally agree. Good paint job. Probably won't rust that easily. Totally. But yeah, where is the line going to be? And I think that's kind of the next major evolution in Minis is finding where that's going to be. I know the likes of Singer had that problem with Porsche as well. They wanted to build those Porsches properly, and they wanted to it's not a money's no object car. That wasn't the thing, but it was spend the right amount of money to build it right. That's
Yes.
actually what their thing was. And Apple is a great comparison. I'm glad that you picked up that with Haltech, because that's exactly what it is. I mean, there's IBM computers are absolutely phenomenal, and they probably beat the absolute pants off an Apple. There absolutely is. But what Apple sell is a computer that you can buy, and it's quite expensive, but when you open it up, it'll just work. And it'll just keep doing its computey thing, and then you'll close it, and then you'll open it again, and it'll work. And someone like me, who is a complete, I'm non-technical at all. I can't be dealing with code or anything like that. It's just, I don't have any space left up here for code. So an Apple is exactly the right thing for me, because I need to get on the internet, I need to send my emails, but I need to
do the things you need to do.
And it just, like, my Apple is 2018, and it literally the other day, this is shameful, okay, but the other day it popped up and told me it is 864 days since I last packed it up, which is an absolute testament to the computer and not to me. I'm shameful, but it has been running flawlessly for 841 days, because if it hadn't,
you would have had to restore from backup, and you'd also be
I've lost
SOL.
everything from the last. I'm completely I did back it up. You'll be delighted to know. But
yeah, thank you. That makes me feel better.
I can see you went pale there. But that's an evolution of a Mini. If we could get a Mini that was in that world, that's a Restomod Mini in my book. But,
Yep. And actually, someone someone just posted a comment, actually, though, that said that if they don't Restomod, the cars will be electric. But I actually disagree with that. That I truly believe that electric conversions for classic cars are exactly a Restomod. That's like, you look at a classic Mini that's parked somewhere. If you don't know what's under the hood, say it's electric, and you're looking at it, it's a classic Mini. And like when they drive away and it goes whirr, instead of going some other silly noise then sure, obviously you see that it's electric and it's not truly a carbureted old Mini. But that's what Restomod is. Modernized. In their case, they modernized the engine. Whereas
here's one that we started this off talking about bringing our Land Rover and our Mini mountain bike in.
Do
you know what? If you pulled up at the local trail center with your bike on top of your Mini and it was electric or it was running an A series, that wouldn't have changed what people would have thought in the slightest. They
Not
would
even
have
a
just
little.
seen you pull up and thought to themselves, "Do you know what? That's a cool Mini. What's that guy doing there with a mountain bike?" That's what would have been, So I don't know. Like that's to me the essence of Restomod, is getting classic cars back out there and in the hands of people who are going to enjoy them. And you don't have to be an engineer to enjoy a Mini. That's really important in Restomod mindset to me.
Yes.
I want people who, like, for example, there was a guy who came up to me the other day who seen my Land Rover and my mountain bike hanging off the back of it, and he was like, "Man, I just really want that." And my first thought is, you really don't.
You don't.
Because you have no idea the pain of trying to get the bike. I really wanted to put up a post on Instagram, actually, and I don't know why I didn't. It didn't happen. But I was going to take a photograph of my of the mountain bike hanging off the back of the Land Rover, and the caption was going to be this: Land Rovers bringing excitement to mountain biking. Because the drive from my house to the trail center was far more exciting than the mountain bike ride I took.
The ride itself.
And that's saying something, right?
Yeah, it is totally true, though. But like, there are so many people that are like, I want that, but what they truly want is to be able to have a cool looking Land Rover that they can just get in and drive. My buddy Justin and I were talking about this the other day. He works on a lot of different Minis. He's kind of probably akin to you, but here in Charlotte, and in terms of like the work he takes on. And he's working with a guy right now who doesn't know a ton about mechanics, mini specific stuff for car stuff in general. He bought a Mini because he wants to drive it, and that's it. He didn't buy it because he wanted to work on it. He doesn't buy it.
And what's really important is there's nothing wrong with that. That's completely the right thing. Don't like there's a persona within the classic car world that needs to change. That oh well, if you're not wanting to go out every Saturday and be underneath your car getting covered in oil and grease, then you're not a true, classic car fan. That's a load of my crap. Like I don't take my mountain bikes apart. I've never taken one of my mountain bikes apart. I absolutely love mountain biking. I love it.
But you don't want to work on them.
Or the minute anything is wrong with it, I give it to a mountain bike shop because those guys have it done in 5 minutes and charge me like the smallest amount of money that it's unfathomable to me that anybody can do mechanical stuff for every time I go in and the guy says to me like $100 or $200, I'm like, what? for the parts. How much do I pay you though? Because you're after doing all of this. And he's like, no, that's what it is. Okay.
Okay. I mean,
I'm
cool, but
robbing you, but fine. I mean, can I get something in writing to say this is okay? I'm not stealing this or whatever, But it's a different world, right? But
it is, but still,
and that option should exist for people with classic vehicles and Restomod or people producing Restomod vehicles. That's what that world is. That should be creating that opportunity for other people that they can get a car and they have all the nostalgia of a rattly old Mini and it looks like a rattly old Mini and it has the persona of one, but it works.
Yeah, but you don't have to suffer through this gas smell and the oil leaking everywhere you go, and why is my coolant overheating, and
or understanding what color the wiring loom is, like like I've been at so many Mini meetings, and there's people arguing over whether the slow speed wiper wire is red and white or blue and white. Like, no, you shouldn't know this stuff. Like,
you're right.
This is insane. Like,
yes.
No, it's definitely red and white. No, on a 71, it's not red and white. It's actually red and blue.
It's like,
it's not red with a green trace.
Yeah, but how many people have had hands in your car?
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
there you go.
That's such a fair point, and I mean, like it's funny too because like the two of us, like we obviously are people who enjoy doing the work, and like I've actually come to a realization as I've been going through this Restomod build. It's that people are always like, Cole, you never make any driving videos, or you never show us the like finished, you got your turbocharged engine done and then you drove it for a while, but we never saw like an update about it being done. And I realized that I was thinking, I want to make these driving videos, but then I actually don't. Like, I don't really care to make those. I don't care to like make the finished thing, and I wanted. Right, but I also just don't enjoy it. Like, I actually really like building the car, and I like enjoying it too. Like, I like driving my cars, but the building is where I like gets me going.
It's like for me, and one of the things that I said I was gonna change, and I talked about it recently, is for me, I just love taking on engineering challenges, trying to come up with a way to solve a problem. I love that, and my new workshop, I pretty much decided that that's exactly what I want to do. I want to find challenges within the car and come up with solutions and create solutions to those challenges.
It's beautiful.
It's the thing that and that's going to be my addition to the Restomod world, is exactly that. This is the bit, we just talked about it there quite recently. We just talked about it with the clutch, like, there shouldn't be black magic around a Verto double spring Verto clutch. Like, there's enough people in the world that we can figure this out. Like, this is, and that's just an engineering challenge. That's just A, B, and C. As a friend of mine says, it's ones and zeros. We just need to figure out what combination is going to make it work, and then that's it. Like, there's no black magic, and wiring should be exactly the same. There should be no black magic in that. Like, there is a company who makes a really good ECU that can deal with this problem, and then we know that a wiper needs these connections to make that work, and an indicator needs those connections, and a brake light. It's not rocket science. Like,
it isn't.
We're not trying to get a a man on the moon, we're trying to make indicator lights come on and brake
I
lights
mean,
come on and the
well,
engine crank over, right?
it is kind of rocket science if it's that BMW that you were working on that they told you not to.
Totally. The tech in those stuff is phenomenal. Like somebody was showing me the
Yes.
tech recently. You know where you wave your foot underneath the back of your car
Yes.
and the boot opens? Like, guys, Jesus, like
But it's so genius. It truly is.
it's
Like,
phenomenal. I love it. I think it's
yeah. Like you're walking up to your car, you've got a dog in one hand, you've got all your groceries. I don't know what this weird scenario is, but you have both of these things and like, oh, I don't have any hands. What do I do? You don't let your dog go. You don't drop your groceries. You just wiggle your foot and boom,
And next
you're in
thing,
your... There it goes.
But that's tech, right? And
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily have to be part of this, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder
man.
if we have any comments.
Oh, yeah. Now that we've spent, 40 minutes on
30 minutes going down Restomod. Yeah, we're gonna have to do an episode on Restomods, I think, and then
Yeah,
it'll just
I
be
think
you,
it'd be
me,
good.
and two other nerds.
Yes.
It's really just you and me gonna hang out and hash out Restomods, and if anyone wants to join us, they're welcome.
I dig that. Oh, here's an interesting one. What are your thoughts on Demon Tweak's ceramic heater rather than using the engine coolant heat? I'm going to pull this up because I've not actually seen it, but I can kind of picture what it is. Have you seen it before?
I think I'm gonna hazard a guess. I'm just throwing this out here, but as far as I know, it is using an element out of a modern-ish electric car. So like I'm gonna say like a Hyundai i30 or something like that. It's not that, but it's gonna be or as you guys say, a Hyundai, isn't it? No, how do you say it?
Hyundai is how we say it.
A Hyundai, yeah. So a Hyundai. Do you guys use the numbering system? Is it i30s and stuff there too?
I don't know them that well.
Hyundai. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Oh yeah. The sorry. No, I'm not gonna do that. That was me.
Well, back to the heater question, Paul.
Yeah. So I'm reckoning that's what it is, right? It's a ceramic heater out of like a modern electric car, and they've just built a kind of a universal housing for it. I think something like that. Would it work in a Mini? Will it fit?
It looks pretty small. I think it would. It's pretty cool too. So I would say, looking at the amperage draw for it, that's probably going to be your biggest factor. So you need about a 30 amp fuse or some like fusible circuit for it, which is pretty high. But that's not totally outside the realm.
No, because I mean a good alternator will put out 60. So
yeah, and that's just for initial startup. It's as it's heating, it's down around 22 or 25 amps. But
that's good. That
is pretty good. The thing is though, like if you have something like that, it's certainly going to require more power, but that's a beautiful improvement. Like you don't have to pipe literal engine coolant into your cabin, which seems like an absolute win to me.
I'm completely with it. It's going to be neater. It's going to be tidier, and you can also, I imagine, with your super fancy ECU, you could probably have it such that it could heat up before the engine is warm, so you could have a warm car.
That is a good point. Although the high current outputs that they have on these PDMs are only capable of a 25 amp current.
But they could trigger a relay, right?
Yeah, or I do know that they can peak. They can peak higher than 25 amps, but a sustained 25 amps is where it's supposed to run. So it might actually be okay. That'd be a question for Haltech. But Ashley mentions that it was the 600 watt heater. I was looking at the 300. I don't know that you need it.
Like 600 seems like a lot for a Mini.
Yeah, it does. Like I think 300 probably would be fine. I don't know. Get it. Tell us about it.
Yeah, yeah, buy it, Ashley, and tell us how great it is. What kind of books is it? Is it expensive?
The one I see, let me see here, is 64 United States dollars, which is like
cheekers.
40 euro.
Oh man, that's no brainer. You would totally get one of those and try it. Yeah.
Yeah. I almost kind of want to
Because
now.
the mini heater is brutal. Like it's possibly one of the uselessest items ever. It'll just about keep the fog off your window on a cold day, like just about. Like.
Yeah, it'll keep your feet
And
from
even
getting
then,
frostbitten.
Oh, you want your fleece-lined Carhartt on you that day, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Evening chaps, evening chaps, either of you seen much about fitting tow bar? Oh, I seen something recently about tow hitches on minis.
Yeah. I actually did a whole video on it.
Did you?
I sure did.
Not recently though.
No, not recently. No, it was about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
You have a back catalog for like 7 years or something. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I like the tow bar setup. It's controversial because even with the Mini sitting in neutral, the gearbox is moving when you're driving or pulling the car behind. So you're putting load into an engine that's not on. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I think I'm not worried about that really. Like, don't drive it at 80 miles an hour. It's a Mini. Like,
I mean, and you're not going to be towing anything major, right? You're towing something small, I presume.
Wait a minute. I misunderstood that. Actually, I did a video on putting a front tow bar on the Mini so it is towed behind a modern car. I misread that.
Okay. So you haven't done a video about this?
I have not done a video about this. I am a literal liar.
Right. So, what do I know about tow bars?
Yeah, Paul.
The only thing I've seen, I have seen people towing minis to shows with other minis. I have seen that. And I think the only kind of major problem there is the only thing you have is the subframe to mount it to, and I certainly, that cross member that goes up the back of the heel board. I wouldn't be towing anything off of that because
Absolutely
that's
not.
literally a pressed piece of channel.
Barely.
I seen one of those, like, guys used it to pull a Mini out of at a racetrack.
No.
The guys hooked onto that with the tow truck, and literally just the two back wheels went like this together, like, because they pulled it in the middle and it just bent the back of the car. So yeah, it needs to be an absolute Mini specific tow bar, and I would want to be seeing it bolting along, the two long plates that the cones mount into. That's what I'd be thinking. But even then, like, towing with the Mini, just remember the only thing holding the subframe into the back of the car is 2 bolts on either side on the heel board and 2 bolts up into the floor pan, and they're not big bolts, like.
No,
so
they're not big.
A tow bar in a Mini, I wouldn't be towing anything major. If it's full of little trailer camping or something, I think.
Yeah, like maybe one of those ones where people take the boot of a Mini and they chop all the rest of the car off, and then that's perfect. That's
that's gonna work
luggage.
really well, but not a trailer with stuff.
No.
No, they're not allowed to care for it. I see Cooper S though. No horse box. No. No. Even a horse box without a horse in it, I think would be
an absolute no.
That would be a complete no. Put a horse in it, and I think the Mini would be being towed by the trailer in that instance.
Yeah, it reversed down a hill.
Yeah. Cooper S Traveler has a video about tow bars, so there you go, guys. If you just want to go and learn about tow bars, he's your man. He has some info there. and he's a terribly lovely guy as well. He does really good videos.
Yes,
So,
yes, he does. Well, I am going to start wrapping us up.
I think that's a good idea. We're like almost 2 hours, are we?
Yeah, an hour and 41 minutes so far, which is great. I've had an awesome time. It flew by.
Absolutely.
But you know, I have to go in and start making dinner here pretty soon, and I'm sure. What time is it there? Like 10, 30, 11?
Heading for 10 o'clock. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's a toasted ham and cheese sandwich in my future. As well.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
We had our dinner early in the day, but we're gonna have a little toasty now to seal us off to bed. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank everybody for joining in. Thank you, Paul, for like getting back together with me and like actually wanting to talk to me for some time. This is great. I always love chatting with you, and man, I cannot wait. I so hope that everything works out for IMM and we get to see each other there.
Yeah, we've got to do. Look, we'll have a chat about this. Yeah, we'll chat about this and we'll figure something out. Yeah, we'll do something. It'd be great if we could figure out how to do like a live stream in person for once.
That could be cool.
We might do a podcast or something.
Yeah. Or maybe just do a little meet and greet at IMM. Just hang out with some people.
That'd be awesome.
So,
let's try and we'll bang our heads together and try and see if we can figure it out. I want to do the exact same thing and say thank you very much everybody for tuning in. I have no idea how many people tuned in, but I know the comment section is absolutely hopping there. I haven't been able to keep up with it, and as you said, how long is it now since we did one of these?
It's been a while. It's I think 8 months minimum, maybe more.
So how lucky are we that we have a group of people that will tune in 8 months later and still be giving us the time of day. So
like nothing happened. So thank you.
Wonderful. And what a great Sunday evening. You can sit here and talk minis for 2 hours and it feels like 5 minutes.
Yep. Totally agree. Well, I hope all of you guys have a really, really wonderful week, and I think we'll wrap it up now.
We'll schedule one of these for the near future. Well, we probably won't get to do one next one because it'll be IMM month, but we might do a June one what is it, debrief, isn't that the term?
Yeah, I like that idea.
Debrief. That'd be a bit of fun, wouldn't it?
That would. Well, so keep an eye out for that. We'll try and schedule something for that month, but if not, hopefully we see you guys at IMM. If you're not going, you should go. If you are going, do go. I mean, continue to go.
Don't get in our way though. Don't take my ticket. I haven't bought all my tickets yet, so make sure the tickets are.
I actually haven't bought mine either.
Hopefully, and look, we'll talk about it more before the time. But if you see us guys at IMM, please come up and say hello. Never be afraid to come and chat to us because we'd be too delighted to see you guys in person. And
totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Cool. Alrighty, guys. Well, I will see you all in the next one. Thanks, Paul. I'll see you all later.
Alrighty. Take it easy.